Assalamualaikum, my name is Umi Aida. I'm here to talk about the microeconomy in the United States during the pandemic COVID-19. First thing first, let me explain the definition of inflation and unemployment. Inflation, often known as the currency devaluation, is the rise in prices for goods and services brought on by monetary policy. The rate of inflation is the amount by which the cost of goods and services rises over time. Additionally, a measure of inflation to perceive consistent purchasing power over time is a monetary amount that have been adjusted for inflation. This makes it easier to compare different historical periods with a greater currency. While unemployment refers to the state of not having a job and actively seeking employment. When people are off of work and looking for employment, they are considered to be unemployed. The unemployment rate is a measure of a percentage of the labor force that is unemployed but actively looking for work. It is an important indicator of the health economy. High unemployment rate can indicate that there is a lack of demand for goods and services, which can lead to the economic recession. On the other hand, low unemployment rates can indicate a healthy economy with strong demand for goods and services. That's all from me. I'll pass the next section to my teammate Aisha.
Next is the background of United States. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Nur Aisha bint Badr and I'm from class 1B. So, United States of America, or commonly known as the United States of America, is a nation that located primarily in North America and consists of 50 states. United States also consists of the state of Alaska, which is located at the far western tip of North America, and the island state of Hawaii, which is located in the center of the Pacific Ocean. Other than that, US also share maritime borders with the Bahamas, Cuba, and other countries, as well as shared land borders with Mexico and Canada. And it is the world's third largest country by both land and total area. The national capital is Washington, D.C., which is located in the east bank of the Potomac River. And United States is a well-developed nation. And it is the second biggest exporter and the world's largest importer by value. And United States also possesses more than 30% world's wealth, which is the highest percentage of any country. Then is the population of USA. US population in 2022 was estimated at 338 million, which increased by 0.38% from the previous year, which is 2021. And the population of United States makes up of 4.35% of the world's population. And it is the most populous nation in the Americas and the third place in terms of population among all countries and dependent territories. And as of Sunday, 8 January of 2023, the current population for US is 325 million based on the World Meter elaboration of the latest United Nations data. After that is the national income of United States and the national debt of United States. First is the national income of US. The US gross national income per capita, which is per person, for 2021 was $70,430, which is a gain of 9.81% from 2020. And the GNI per capita in the US fell by 2.77% in 2020 to $64,140 compared to 2019, which was $65,970. Next is the national debt of United States. According to the Treasury Department of US, the total public outstanding debt was $31.36 trillion as of December 2022. And it was the first time the country has surpassed $30 trillion in national debt. And the cause for the debt to increase over time was recessions, cover spending, and other measures because of the COVID-19. And according to the estimates, 69.90% of the GDP was held in the form of governmental debt, of which 33% was held by foreigners. And foreign nations held 7.7 trillion worth of US. And then the last part for the background is the main sector contributors of United States. There are three main contributors of the US, which are service sector, industry sector, and agriculture sector. Based on the statistics that have been released by the World Bank, service sector contributed 66.89% of the nation's GDP in 2019, while industry made up about 18.53%, and the agriculture sector accounted for 0.86%. And one of the leading or major industry in the US include finance, okay, real estate, mining, retail, and technology, and so on. Okay, first is the service sector. Service sector is the prime contributor to the US economy, and it includes a variety of service business such as warehousing and transportation service. And the second one is the industry service, which made up of healthcare, technology, retail, and construction, and others. Industry sector has increased the employment rate in the nation due to the creation of new jobs. And lastly is the agriculture industry, which is the country's third largest contributor, and it generates about 10.3% of the jobs in the nation. And currently, there are approximately 21 million farms in the nation. And the most extensively produced feed grain is corn, and with soybeans coming in the second.
Then I will talk about the unemployment and inflation rates in the US. I wanted to emphasize before I start that I will only be sharing the most prevailing concerns and causes. You can see from the diagram that 2022 had the highest inflation rate. This is a result of United States' quick rate of money expansion. The extra low interest rates brought on by the US monetary policy are also to blame for the times of a rise in inflation. Other than that, the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the global chain are two issues that the US is dealing with. As a common knowledge, the global chain had a poor activity during COVID-19. This occurred as a result of several businesses struggled to recover to pre-pandemic levels after dealing with the weak economy from 2019 to 2021. The diagram shows that the highest unemployment rate in the United States occurred in 2020. It might be said that a large number of people are compelled to cease working because their employer cannot afford to pay them what they are worth. In addition, young workers and recent graduates have greater unemployment rates since they have fewer job opportunities when the virus is actively spreading.
Impact 2020 was not a usual year. Spending patterns among consumers drastically changed as a result of COVID-19 driven orders for stay-at-home moms and behavioral adjustments brought on by social withdrawal. Impact on inflation. Demand for goods and services has plummeted because of the reduction of purchases that was made by consumers. This is also because of the sudden closing of businesses around the country. In addition, prices for traveling has also decreased, including accommodation services and packages. The usual price peak during summer months has decreased below the relative average levels of previous years. This implies that the price level for accommodation services and passenger transport by air has been lower since the pandemic started. Moreover, demand for cleaning supplies and personal protective equipment has also increased. People are more wary of the situation during the pandemic and has taken more care of themselves, their safety, their cleanliness to be more safe from the virus. The use of cleaning supplies in hospitals also increased due to the increase of COVID-19 patients during that time. Furthermore, food shortages was also a problem during the pandemic. People started to panic buy during the announcement of the lockdown. and food factories has reduced their production due to the decrease of workers that were allowed to work in the factories at that time. In addition, transportation prices has also decreased because of the traveling restriction that was made by the government. Last but not least, demand for housing has also rise because the increase of people that works from home wanted more housing space to make their own office at home. Impact on unemployment. Unemployment has decreased rapidly due to the closing of businesses because of the coronavirus and social problems around the country. In addition, leisure and hospitality industries has been deeply affected due to the travel restrictions and the closure of bars and restaurants. It have contributed to a loss of total 3.4 million jobs, which includes waiters, chefs, hotel workers, gym trainers, theme parks, and bowling alleys. Professional and commercial services, education, and health services and government payrolls were also affected by this pandemic. Last but not least, it has prevented people from looking for work. This is because the virus is life-threatening and it is easily transmitted through air, which is easy for humans to inhale them.
Alright, so we will continue with monetary and fiscal policies to overcome inflation and unemployment. So we will focus on inflation first. The first line defense is called as open market operation, which is called as MMO. So what is MMO? OMO actually. So OMO is the action where the federation buys securities when they want them to have money to lend, and they will sell securities by forcing the banks to buy. So next one is Federation Funds Rate, which is also known as FFR. So FFR is the interest rate banks charge for overnight loans they make to each other. And the last one is known as reserve requirements. Reserve requirements is the amount banks were required to keep in reserve at the end of each day. Okay, now we will continue with how to overcome unemployment in United States of America. So, the first one, government has lowered the interest rate. So, this way will encourage citizens to borrowing and spending. We all know that borrowing money is more affordable when interest rates are low. So, second, we have infrastructure projects. So, this will boost economic growth by building roads, bridges, and public transportation system. So, last one, we have public initiative. So, public initiative is a finance and will add jobs in public sector, such as public work programs.
To conclude, the COVID-19 has had a significant impact on the economy of the United States. The sudden shutdown of businesses and loss of jobs has led to a decline in economic activity and has increased the unemployment. Besides that, there was an increase in inflation, but the increase has been relatively moderate. The industries that have been most negatively impacted includes utilities, mining, and finance, whereas the least impacted was education, retail commerce, and health services. The government had taken proper measures to overcome the unemployment and inflation issues through monetary and fiscal policies.